On Wednesday the 14th of July, Evercade announced via its Twitter their first collection for 2022. This collection will bring not only new games but also a new publisher in the form of the Japanese publisher Telenet and its US subsidiary Renovation. The 12 titles were never released in Europe, according to Evercade, meaning these are the first time for most people in the UK, unless of course you imported or emulated them, that you will be able to play these. This is my look at the 12 titles. While Evercade has given no indication as to the versions of the games that will be used on the cartridge, most of them do seem like they have been either ported to Mega Drive or Mega Drive exclusives, so therefore I'll be looking at the Mega Drive versions for a sneak peek of this cartridge. First up is Arcus Odyssey. This is an action game with a hack and slash gameplay, and it also has an isometric view of the world. You take charge of your character and battle your way through multiple worlds. This is part of the Arcus franchise and was supposed to see a SNES version, which was eventually cancelled when Sega purchased Telenet, giving them control of Renovation also in 1993. Game 2 is Beast Wrestler. This game was released as an exclusive to the Mega Drive or Genesis in Japan and North America. Beast Wrestler is a one-on-one fighting game shot from the isometric view. It pits several beasts against one another in a fantasy/sci-fi setting. Based on my playing of the game, I'm going to say that it will take some getting used to, as it's hard to pull some of the attacks off with your beasts, as you can see from the footage. Game 3 is Dinoland. Dinoland is a colourful pinball game, and if you watch some of my recent videos you will all know that I love pinball on consoles. Well, those are words you're never going to hear coming out of my mouth in anything other but a sarcastic way. There isn't much I can say about the gameplay here other than it's a pinball game, and lovers of pinball games on consoles should enjoy this, although personally I'm not particularly looking forward to it.
Okay, let's do it.
Game 4 is El Viento. This is an action platformer where you have magic boomerangs as your weapons to defeat each of the enemies on the stage. It plays like you would expect any action platform to do, in that you jump and slash your way through the enemies. According to the wiki page for the game, it's part of a trilogy of games, the other two being Ernest Evans and Annette Futatabi. I'm not aware of any of those games, but as you can see from the footage, this looks like it could be quite good. Game 5 is Exile. Exile is actually the third title in its series. The first two were exclusive to Japan and were not on consoles. It's an action RPG game where you play as an assassin, and it follows on from the story of the previous instalments. Despite that follow on, it seems like this should be pretty straightforward to play, and for the most part it does seem like it'll be kind of fun to myself. Game 6 is Final Zone. Final Zone sees you play as a mech robot from an isometric view. You fight your way across the battlefields battling different enemy types. Based on the bits and pieces that I've played, you can pick up all sorts of weapons, but you can actually only use 2 of them at any one time. It's going to be another one of those games that will take some getting used to, but it could be pretty fun to play. Game 7 is Guyares. This game is a horizontal side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. To me it seems like a typical shoot-'em-up where you play some form of spaceship, pick up different weapons and destroy the other enemy ships. It does look very, very polished, and I think it will work really well on the handheld. For me at least. I'm not 100% sure on the versus the VS. Game 8 is Granada. Granada is a multi-directional shooter. The point of the game is to go around the large battle area that you're situated in and destroy the enemies. Your enemies are depicted on your HUD as red dots. Again, it seems like it's a very polished shooter and should lend itself very, very well to the Evercade handheld. And for some reason I seem to think I've played this game, but I can't think where. Game 9 is Sellies. This is the second horizontal shooter in the collection. Much like Guyares, there's not much you can say about the gameplay that people won't already know when it comes to these types of games. The action's fast paced, and looking at what's said about it online, the soundtrack is composed by the same composer as the Tales series of games, so the soundtrack is seen as being pretty solid. It's going to be another game that will lend itself really well to the Evercade, but again I'm reserved of what it'll be like on the VS. Game 10 is Tracia. Tracia is a traditional party-based RPG game. It plays a lot like Canon or Brave Battle Saga on the Pico collection, where you would enter the battle. When you enter the battle, the enemies are spread out and you have to move to them to fight them. I'm actually really looking forward to this because I really enjoyed the Pico RPGs, and this looks like it is more of the same vein. Game 11 is Vales, the Phantasm Soldier. Vales is a side-scrolling action platformer where you play a character called Yuko, who uses the Vales sword to slash, jump and slice away around the levels. This Mega Drive version is slightly different to the PC Engine version in its controls, but from what I played of it, it plays well and seems like it's going to be a bit of fun to play. The final game is Vales III. This is the third game in the Vales series. You still play as Yuko, however the main difference with this game is that you have the ability to switch from Yuko to play as her sister Vena or another character called Cham. Much like the first game, it's an action platform where you jump and slash away across the levels. You can switch between the characters on the fly, however in boss fights this is not possible. My guess would be, depending on the boss, a different character might be better than another character. So there we have it, folks. This is my brief look at the 12 games that will be on this collection. The collection seems to take a small selection of the Telenet Renovation games that they developed or produced. However, I'm not sure how easy it will be to get something like Game Ground or East 3 onto the Evercade, but even then, there is still a lot more games to go out for this studio. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. All that's left for me to do is thank you for watching. I've been the Ink Nerd, and I'll catch you on the next one.